Coming to you live. This is Lock and Load. This portion of the show is brought to you by Franklin Armory.
Franklin Armory makes top-quality AR-style firearms for sport, military, and law enforcement. 100% made in America parts and materials. We manufacture revolutionary 3-position binary triggers that can be selected to fire on the pull and release, or set to fire normally. We strongly support and uphold our Second Amendment. We hope you do too. Get a 10% discount when you mention the code word Lock and Load at franklinarmory.com.
Indeed, check them out at franklinarmory.com. Well, now D.C. has joined the fray, and the NRA is going to be involved in 2 court battles, I guess. They've done a few other things, but I don't really know what I'm doing when I'm looking at legal stuff, and I haven't had my guest on in a while because he's been pretty busy because he does lots and lots of legal stuff, so... Joining me tonight to talk about the picadillos of the NRA and maybe some other stuff that he may have on the fire that we can talk about is attorney at law Stephen Stamboulieh. Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, Bill. How's it going?
Pretty. Well, I guess it's pretty busy for you, both as an observer and an attorney.
Oh yeah, it's great times to be a lawyer.
So, what's your first, I mean, when I'm looking at what, I can't remember her last name. I know her first name is Letitia, the Attorney General from New York, and I'm looking at what she's talking about. Some of the things that she's talking about sort of ring true, don't they?
Well, that's the thing. It's the esteemed Attorney General Letitia James has some things in this 169-page complaint, which is very long, that, should be fleshed out, and if true, the NRA should be held to account for this, and the defendant's name should be held to account for this. But seeking to dissolve the NRA is just garbage. We can talk bad about the NRA and the stuff they've done and the money that they've spent on suits and lawyers, but you don't seek to dissolve it. You seek to, I guess, reform it would be a better way to look at it. But of course, it's political, and even though she said it wasn't, it still smells political to me. And she's making her chops on this case. This is what her people want her to do.
How much of three of the players that she mentions, let's see, Frazier, of course, Wayne Lapierre. We were having pretty good fun at the expense of Wayne Lapierre at SHOT Show, weren't we?
Oh yeah. Suits. There you go.
Wayne Lapierre, and of course Josh Powell, who I kind of, when you look at the timeline when they had a declared surplus in 2015 versus when they got rid of him, it sort of seems like when he came on board, that's when they started going sort of crazy, or do you think it goes deeper and went on longer than this with Lapierre?
Well, that's we don't know because we don't know. It's very secretive, and I know that some of the boards of director people were trying to get to the bottom of this mismanagement, and we didn't really know anything until Oliver North's letter got leaked or came out or whatever you want to call it. So, a lot of us, like I say, 99% of us were in the dark as to anything that was going bad with them, other than they weren't winning a lot of cases. Job with their carry guard stuff. They basically took it from USCCA and then, just did a really bad job with it.
So where do you think this goes? I mean, are they going to be successful with this? Because some of the stuff sort of rings true. And I noticed that when Carolyn Meadows got out there and started talking, some of the stuff that they were talking about where they were just the people that's the yes men, it just sort of illustrates itself. Yeah.
And I didn't read all 666 paragraphs, but I read a lot of it. And if this is true stuff, they're going to have a really tough time, especially in New York, in front of a New York judge to, convince him that, hey, we don't need to be dissolved, or, We don't need to pay back all of this money that we've alleged to have, I don't know if embezzled is the right word, but maybe misused. Maybe that's a better word. And I don't even know how they would pay that money back unless Lapierre's, got his millions of dollars in a bank account somewhere, which I doubt. But that they're trying to freeze the assets of the NRA as well right now. New York is trying to freeze their assets. D.C. went after the foundation, the NRA Foundation, for giving improper loans to the NRA and not getting paid back and not having the proper controls in place to, I guess, see what loans were going to the NRA and making sure they were good loans. But the D.C. Attorney General is trying to create a constructive trust for the funds that the NRA Foundation has, which is basically a fancy way of seizing those funds and holding them for the benefit of the foundation. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but, I mean, they were released on the same day. They're working together because they're both anti-gun commie places. I guess that's the easiest way to say it.
So what is the likelihood they'll be able to dissolve the NRA? I mean, that sounds – I can see them wanting to do certain things, and I can see them – but none of these guys that they mentioned in this thing have actually been charged with a crime, have they?
Well, not yet, and she was very careful because there's different duties when you're talking about civil complaints and criminal prosecutions as to what she's able to say under the rules of professional conduct, and she, in my opinion, skirted right up on that line of saying what the allegations were, and I guess tainting a jury pool. So. Yeah, there's no criminal charges yet, but I mean, if this stuff is true, then the criminal charges are right, or should be right behind this, right?
I would think so.
So too.
I'm just waiting to see where they seek to go. Although the other thing that is disturbing is that they noticed Ackerman Mcqueen, which was the one that they refer to as, I think, the pass through for all this money. There was a lot of money going to Ackerman Mcqueen.
Yeah. So where Ackerman's involved? Where are they?
I don't know where they've gone since then. Before all this happened, before NRA fired them, when you went to their webpage, they every other client was NRA, but they had clients in between that, and I don't know if they even exist as a company now. I'm sure they do, but I don't know what they do. They had all kinds of audio and video production equipment. I mean, I if they left open their warehouse door, I'd go rent a van.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what they did with any of this stuff, and everybody there that was a media star has had to move on to other things, but I don't know. But like I said, do you think they will be able to actually dissolve them? Is that something because they're incorporated in New York?
I think the law gives, and I don't know the New York corporation law, but it seems, and just from what I've read, let me just caveat that. It seems like the law would allow them to dissolve it. They can allege whatever in the complaint, and they can demand whatever in the complaint, and ultimately it's up to the court at the end of the day to decide whether or not to dissolve it or to, get these bad actors out and, put it in receivership or let someone else come and take over it. Can they? Yeah, I guess the law says they can, but are they going to? I mean, that's yet to be seen. I'm going to be following the case to see who makes an appearance on behalf of the individuals, the discovery portion of this case.
Let me get you to hang on right there. We're coming to the break. We'll be right back. My guest is Stephen Stamboulieh, attorney at law. This is Lock and Load.